What another wholesome episode for Spy Family. Every time I watch Anya's little adventures and her trying to go through life, it just brings a nice light into my day. After watching My Hero Academia, it's a little bit more darker and intense, kind of getting into that war stuff, but Spy Family brings in that nice up motion. It's a nice show to watch right after, bring you up in that nice wholesome mood. We're going to be talking about episode 18, but before I get into it, welcome to NonStopAntonio, where I talk about everything nerdy. If you like content just like this, hit the subscribe button for more, and I hope you enjoy this video. I like how this whole episode is focusing around Anya and her midterms, because they mentioned it last week, and now we're finally getting into it. And everyone knows that if Anya fails, she's not going to be able to get further into the school, and she is screwed. And I love how Twilight knows that she's going to fail. Like, there's no way. She fails her quizzes. Like, she's not good in school. She's not a very bright child when it comes to, like, learning. And I love it because every time you see her, she's, like, getting ready to do something. And then she goes in and she fails. And it's just very adorable because compared to all the other students, she can read minds, but she can't do much else. And I like how when she talks about, like, oh, I can just cheat off Damien when it comes to the test and read his mind. And then they realize that an eclipse is coming. And she mentions people in the lab. Well, they said that her powers don't work during an eclipse. So Anya has a weakness where she can't read minds during an eclipse. She also mentions a lab. And I'm very interested to seeing if we will see flashbacks or find more about this lab so that we know exactly how she got her powers. Because that's still a big mystery about where she got her powers, where it came from, and what it's connected to. I have a feeling it's still connected to Bond and his experiments with the government, but it might be slightly different. And I'm very interested to finding out what's going on there, and I'm really enjoying this show. I like how Yor gets Yuri to come help her study, and Yuri is he hates Twilight. He doesn't like Anya. He's mad that Anya gets to spend all her time with Yor when he doesn't get to see his sister at all, because he's so amazed by his sister. Because she raised him. He loves his sister so much, and just wants her to be happy, but he also doesn't like people being in her life, because he wants to be the one to make her happy. He doesn't care about anyone else. And I find his relationship with everyone is really funny, because he's also part of the secret police, which means if he finds out who Twilight is, they're all screwed. However, he wouldn't betray his sister, and maybe that'll come down the road where he'll find out what's happening with Twilight, Yor will find out what's happening with Twilight, but Yor will also be in love with Twilight. They'll kind of have an actual relationship at some point, so Yuri will take a side of his sister, leave the government, and a bunch of shit will happen. Or this will make them go after each other, and brother and sister will fight. Who knows? I feel like there's still a lot that could happen in this nice, wholesome show. There is dark stuff that could happen. We literally got an assassin for a mother, which we haven't really seen her be an assassin in a bit, and I'm waiting for her to come back to be that badass person once again. I love how Anya calls him Unky, and he's like, don't call me Unky. It's so wholesome. I love this show. I also love the fact that the only reason Yuri will help Anya is so that his sister will praise him and love him, and otherwise he wouldn't do it, which is just really fun. And I like how he explains why he was such into studying. It was to all benefit his sister. He could help her heal. He could help her learn, and just continuously trying to improve his own sister, and now he's part of the secret police, which most of his skills he learned during life works for him pretty much every day. And I love during all this how Anya's like, I want to conquer the world. I'm like, Anya, you want to what? Anya wants to conquer the world? One of the quotes also from this episode that I absolutely loved, Yuri asking Anya, have you mastered your grammar yet? And her going, what's grammar? Oh, Anya, how have you passed school so far? How are you passing any of your classes? And I like how they're continuing off Yor's cooking still from a couple episodes back. She makes snacks for them as Yuri's leaving. He runs back inside, eats all the cookies and leaves. But then you hear him throw up in the hallway. And Bond eats the cookie off the floor and then just dies on the ground. I'm like, Yor's cooking is still awful. And I love seeing the scenes of it because it's just really fun. I'll say this over and over again. This show is wholesome, it's fun, and it's just generally a good time. I don't need all this action to make a good show. Something that just gives me good vibes is something I like to watch. We get to see some spy stuff again, which was actually really fun as well because it gives Twilight kind of a nemesis who's an idiot. You have Twilight going into the school to try to break in to change Anya's grades, and he runs into this guy named DAYBREAK, who is an absolute fool of a spy. He's like rolling around in DAYBREAK. He's not disguised. He's breaking and entering. He's not really doing anything. He gets caught, and then Twilight has to cover for him so that he can cover his own ass. And I like how when he gets in, he opens a safe, and DAYBREAK just hits him over the head. I'm like, did he just knock out Twilight? But Twilight was actually fine just sitting there waiting for DAYBREAK to finish up and get the hell out of there. DAYBREAK's doing his work. He's trying to change the Desmond grades. I like how he's like boasting, like, I'm a great spy. I'm going to leave my signature so they know who it is. And Twilight just gets pissed off. You're not supposed to do that. You're a spy. You're not just supposed to show your identity. It's supposed to be a secret. And DAYBREAK's, oh, perfect. You can tell everyone that DAYBREAK was here, the famous spy. DAYBREAK is such an imbecile. He just wants to be famous, but he's a spy, which doesn't really work together. But he's from the East. So you got the West and the East spies. And I love how that leads to him finding out that there was a competitor to the Desmond family where they're trying to make Damien and his brother get lower marks. However, Twilight fixes it so they can stay high marks, so Twilight's mission stays on track without anything going wrong. And I thought he changed Anya's grades too, but at the end of the episode, he's like, oh, Anya passed on her own. I mean, she didn't do good, but she passed. So what was the point of even going there? He could have raised the marks a little bit, but I guess he didn't want to be too suspicious, because if Anya's failing everything and all of a sudden she gets perfect grades, that's not going to look good. I like how she's so proud of her achievement, but no one else is. Well, except Yor. Yor is always proud of her. And I like how Yor is like this caring mom who's always there, supports her. Even if she does bad, she's like, oh, you still did pretty good. And Twilight's disappointed, even though he's the one that changed it. And he even says, I should thank her for complete helping the mission. And Anya can read his mind, so she knows. I feel like this is still laying the groundwork for them to become a actual family. Like, Twilight and Yor actually care about Anya and each other. And I think when it comes to it, they're going to choose each other over the mission. Like, everything Twilight's been doing is for his mission, and he picks his mission over everything. But I think if Anya and Yor was in danger and it was saving them or going to complete his mission, he'd save them. I mean, Yor can take care of herself, but I still feel like they've been living together. They've been a fake family, and I feel like they're just going to come together and be a real family by the end of this. That's just where I think it's going. They're going to find out each other's secrets, and they're going to care for one another truly. And I'm really looking forward to that because, again, the show is just such a good time. I really just like watching this family. It's really wholesome. It brings a smile to my face, and it's just really fun. Every week I look forward to this show, and I cannot wait for it to continue going. What do you think of this episode? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.